Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Chapter 10, Canto 1 with all of you. We will just quickly review what ninth chapter was. Does anybody remember what we completed in the ninth chapter? Eighth chapter was Kunti Stuti. After that, what did we do?
Bhishma Stuti, Mathaji.
Very good. Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bharti Mataji. So, we went through Bhishma Stuti, where Yudhishthir Maharaj was perplexed and he was lamenting that I killed so many people. No amount of yajna can actually clear my papa. Even though it is a Kshatriya Dharma to fight, I killed innocent people just to get the kingdom. And that is not very wise. I feel so much morose, and there is nothing which can cleanse my papa. That's what he was thinking. And Krishna could have consoled him. Krishna and all the other acharyas talked to Yudhishthir Maharaj, but it is said Krishna is the Paramatma in everybody's heart. So when somebody gets convinced also, it is Krishna's mercy only. Here Krishna did not let Yudhishthir Maharaj get consoled because he wanted to bring out the glory of Bhishma Pitamaha. So he takes Yudhishthir Maharaj and rest of the Pandavas to Bhishma Pitamaha. So Bhishma Pitamaha gives the glory of bhakti. In his stuti, he describes, he actually goes over all the Varnashrama and he says what is the best for human. And he asks Yudhishthir Maharaj to ask those questions to Bhishma Pitamaha. And Bhishma Pitamaha answer those questions by giving the knowledge of how to rule the kingdom, what is Kshatriya Dharma, what is Stri Dharma. He explains everything in detail, and finally there is Bhishma Stuti, where he gives up everything. He talks to his mind and he tells his mind to start concentrating on the lotus feet of the Lord, and he refers his mind to his daughter, and he says, now I want my daughter to get married to Krishna. That is his mind completely immersed in Krishna. And he starts off describing the beauty of Krishna. He gets attracted by the beauty of Krishna. Tamala Varnam Ravikara Gaurahare. That's what he says. He describes Krishna and he says how he is in the war field, so beautiful to look. So it is said that Bhishma Pitamaha was in the chivalry. Right? Being chivalry or courage was the rasa which he exchanged with Krishna. Slowly that is a secondary rasa. Slowly from that secondary rasa, you can see a tint or a glimpse of Madhurya rasa also coming in when he describes the beauty of Krishna. And the second incident he gives is in the Rajasuya Yagna, how beautiful Krishna was. He describes all that. And finally, there is a last few shlokas of chapter 9 describe how Bhishma Pitamaha gave up his life. There was complete peace actually. When he gave up his life air, there was so much peace, suddenly everybody felt peaceful. Everybody knew he's giving up his life air. And he says Krishna is so merciful that he gave his darshan when he was leaving his body. He was actually waiting for Uttarayana Punya Kala, it said. And we explained what Uttarayana Punya Kala is. Bhishma Pitamaha is a devotee. Why he has to wait for, Uttarayana Punya Kala? He was actually waiting for Uttarayana, one who took shelter of Uttara's womb. Who was that? That was Krishna. Actually, indirectly, he was waiting for Krishna. And as a devotee, in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, we read that, right? As a devotee, we don't have to plan when we give up the body or when we give up, our life air, whether we have to give it in Krishna Paksha or, Shukla Paksha, all that we don't have to worry. Yogis have to worry about that. Devotees don't have to worry about that because Krishna takes care of our final journey. Now that Bhishma Pita left his body and he is in Goloka, he wrapped up his pastime, and now Krishna is ready to leave Kurukshetra and go back to Dwarka. That is the episode we are going to see, and we will see the reaction. This chapter is very beautiful because it is a loving relationship of each of the devotees, how they feel in separation of Krishna. Okay, that is what we're going to see. Before that, let me see. Before that, let's all join our hands for the pranama mantra of Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seveya Bhagati Uttama Shloke Bhaktit Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripātamaham Vande Shri Gurum Tinataranam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanaභaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let's all bow down to our founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, and our Shiksha Guru Suranath Prabhu. And all the pranamas to all the Vaishnavas here. Just give me 1 second here, devotee. Extremely sorry, dear devotees. Please forgive me. So we will go to the contents. So the contents of this chapter, Yudhishthira Maharaj is ruling and the kingdom. So there are questions asked by Sutta Goswami about how Yudhishthira Maharaj ruled after he was established as a king. We will discuss a little bit about that, and then we will discuss how Krishna is about to depart Hastinapur to go to Dwarka and how everybody felt. Especially, there is a beautiful discussion of how the ladies of Hastinapur go to the rooftop and they have a discussion about Krishna. It's very, very beautiful. It is. Why is it so important for us to listen to all these things? Because they glorify Krishna. Whenever another devotee is glorifying Krishna, even if we just hear to that, we discuss that, there are a lot of anarthas and impurities which are reduced in our life. It refers back to Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. Evam yoveti tatvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma na eti mameti sorjuna. So Krishna says, whoever discusses about my janma karma, in truth, tatvataha, when they discuss that, they will not have punarjanma. Krishna is all transcendental and there is no karma bandhana, although he is performing karma. And for us, just by thinking of that, our karma is destroyed. Isn't that beautiful? So that is what it is. And that's why it becomes important when somebody is glorifying and somebody is feeling separation from Krishna. When we listen to that, we get purified. Maharaj Yudhishthir and Pandavas escort Krishna. So what they do is when Krishna is about to leave, usually when somebody very close to you in your family comes home, you just go till the door. Or some people go till the portico outside, right? Till the gate, and there also you're having a discussion. Even though they've started the car or bicycle, you're, waiting. You go out, even without slippers, sometimes you go out if they are very close to you. And that's what happened to Yudhishthira Maharaj and Pandavas. They escorted Krishna for some distance. So what was the question from Shaunakadi Rishis? Now that Yudhishthira Maharaj won the battle and is reigning the kingdom, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaj Yudhishthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects. Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. So, when Krishna established Yudhishthir Maharaj, what did Yudhishthir Maharaj do? Did he happily enjoy the kingdom and all the opulence of the kingdom, or what did he do? Did he get into unrestricted enjoyment? Oh, I won, I am the king of the world, there is nobody to stop me. Did he do that? That's what was the question. He fought therefore for the right cause under the guidance of Lord Krishna, but he could not enjoy the results of his victory because his cousins were all killed in the fight. He therefore ruled over the kingdom as a matter of duty, assisted by his brother. So what did Yudhishthira Maharaj do? Although he was a king, he never felt that. He felt that he was a proxy for Krishna. See, all these devotee Raja Rishis, they are called. They are actually rishis, but they are taken up another task of ruling. Their main focus is still being a devotee. It is like what Prabhu was explaining yesterday. The pots, the women with the pots of water, right? Although they are performing their household chores, taking care of holding the child while walking and talking to other ladies, the pot is their main karya or activity. The others is secondary. They are still doing that, but the pot is their main focus. In the same way, here Yudhishthir Maharaj's focus was devotion. Ruling was secondary, and that secondary activity also was done for the pleasure of the Lord, not because he wanted to enjoy. See, it is a very difficult position to be in. If we get a little bit of opulence also, what do? We want to enjoy that. We forget Krishna. But here, even that opulence is seen as a vibhuti of Krishna, trying to use that or trying to, please Krishna with that. It's a borrowed item. They feel it all belongs to Krishna, and Krishna has asked us to safeguard. We are only safekeeping it. That's what is the intention. Shows the character of Maharaj Yudhishthir and the Pandavas. Although they had full right to enjoy, they were morose and took charge as a matter of duty. It is very difficult to do this. Very, very difficult to do this. Sutta Goswami responds, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhishthir in his own kingdom and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. See, Kuru dynasty was totally in shacks because that anger and jealousy was brewing between the two families. It was in the path of destruction. And sometimes, when great kings like these become jealous and they have bad qualities, it not only destroys them, it actually destroys the entire country. And Prabhupada in the purport actually gives the same thing about our civilization. He wrote about our, leaders long back. If the leaders are endowed with Vedic instructions and Vedic scriptures, right? They don't have to worry too much about the resources and everything. Automatically rain will come. Automatically, you'll get opulence. Krishna has provided everybody everything. But today's world is like, I have enough, but I want more. That is the mentality of all the leadership roles that we have in the administration. And that's why what happens, there is an imbalance. Ishopanishad talks about it very, very in depth. It talks about it, where it says that, you have been given Ishavasyam, right? You have been given a quota. You have to stay in that quota, and it is good for you and for the rest of the world. The minute you try to exceed the quota and take it from somebody else, then things are going to go bad. So that is what is happening with the current world, where we have enough but we want more. But back then it was not like that. Because the rulers were all Vedic endowed, rain used to come at the proper time. There was no shortage for grains. There was no shortage for water. There was no shortage for natural resources, milk. right? And commodity cost was also very low those days. But now if you see, year after year commodity cost is going up. That is because of the mentality of the leaders that we have. And Prabhupada heavily talks about that in few of these purports. And then here the world is compared to because the Kuru dynasty was under destruction and they had the jealousy and all the bad qualities. It is, the world is compared to a forest, and the wrath to that forest fire which is burning everything. Lord created this world to give a chance for everyone to understand that they need to return back to Godhead and escape the threefold miseries of this world. So why did the Lord create this world? He gave us an opportunity to understand our mistakes and go back to the corrective. We have to do the corrective action. But unfortunately, most of us, when we come into this world, we are so much in ignorance, we create more problems for ourselves. And that is what this few shlokas are talking about. And the intent of the Lord's creation is also spoken here. And then it is described that when such things happen, the Lord has to descend to establish Dharma. And here he established Dharma by putting Maharaj Yudhishthir and Pandavas who follow Dharma. He is doing the corrective action, corrective course he is doing. See, people are all going in this direction. When they have to go in the left direction, then the Lord descends and does the corrective action. That is what it means. Yudhishthir Maharaj is ruling in his kingdom after being situated in perfect knowledge given by Bhishma Pitamaha. So he is using the knowledge. Knowledge is very important. Gnana is very important. Gnana becomes important, and it is the right knowledge when it is selflessly used. But if we use it for selfish, that is not gnana, that is material nescience, Prabhupada says. But when we use it for the betterment of others and bringing others into Krishna consciousness, that is the right use of knowledge. Or understanding who the Lord is and trying, at least for us to go back to Godhead, that is the right knowledge. The cloud showered all that. This is what I described, where the people had enough of resources and they were able to take care of each other. The rivers were flowing with full water. The fruits were very good. We get a glimpse of it in Ramarajya, right? Ramarajya was like that, where fruits used to grow outside. Anybody could go and pluck those fruits and eat those. But today we have to pay for those fruits. There is no freebies today. Why? Because people became more jealous and greedy, and they started storing those fruits only for them. Even today, if you see in the roadside, we see sometimes mango trees and everything. The owner will put one box it so that the fruits can only fall there and only they can eat, others cannot eat it. So that is a condition we are in today. Because of the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at all disturbed. See, this is another thing. When the people are in peaceful, then it is easy to do bhakti. But people are agitated, it is very difficult to do bhakti. And when do people get agitated? When there is no security. Here, Yudhishthira Maharaj is called Ajata Shatru because he did not have enemies in all 10 directions. No enemies at all for him. And when he doesn't have enemies, nobody will come and fight with him. Everybody will go hand in hand, aligned to his rule, right? So people did not have that insecure feeling. When that is gone, then automatically people will be peaceful. See, enough resources, and there is no problem of threat of war or being killed or anything. What more do you need? There cannot be more conducive environment for people to do bhakti. Okay, now we will, the second section we are coming to. I'm trying to wrap it fast, although I'm repeating something. I'm not going to read everything. I will try to complete this chapter today. So here, departure of Krishna from Hastinapur. So here we will see different people, what happened to them. Okay, Shri Krishna stayed in Hastinapur for many months, okay, to pacify everybody because they had all lost their, close relatives, and there were a lot of pain after the war. So he wanted to stay and make sure they're all okay. Afterwards, I've highlighted this to show the Bhakta Vatsalya point of view of Krishna, how he is totally under the control of the Bhaktas. He says, when the Lord asked permission to depart, the Lord is Svarata. Abhigna Swarat we say in the first few shlokas of Bhagavatam. And here the same Lord is asking permission. Hey, please, can I leave? Can I leave? He's asking. And the king gave it. So he treated Yudhishthir Maharaj as elder to him. He already always respected him. Arjuna as equal and Nakula Sahadev as their subordinate. So here he is asking permission to Yudhishthir Maharaj. He is respecting Yudhishthir Maharaj's position and he's asking, can I leave? And Yudhishthir Maharaj said, okay, you can leave by bowing down at his feet. See what Krishna is doing. And the king embraced him. And Yudhishthir Maharaj knows who Krishna is. He can't allow the Lord to, pay obeisance. He immediately grabs him and he hugs him. After this, the Lord being embraced by others and receiving their obeisances got into his chariot. As soon as he stepped into the chariot, all these people faint. At that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsava, Kripacharya, Nakula Sahadeva, Bhishma Pitama, Daumya, and Satyavati all nearly fainted because it was impossible for them to bear separation from Krishna. See, we see the same thing when Krishna is taken away from Vrindavan to Mathura. Many people fainted at that time also. The separation from Krishna, right? It is very, very painful. Very, very painful. We are not in that mood, so we don't understand, but it is very painful. The intelligent who have understood the Lord's association with pure devotees and have become free from bad materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord. See, once you start hearing and knowing the Lord's glories, right? It is very difficult for you to stay away from Krishna. The intelligent people have understood who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and what joy is and what peace is. And how do we get that joy and peace? Just by doing Shravanam. And once they know that, it is very difficult to keep them away from doing that Shravanam. If they who have heard about the Lord and are not able to get separated from the Lord, imagine the Pandavas who lived with the Lord. Even for us, right? Sometimes, you'll feel that, mundane activities, if you're doing too much of mundane activities, you just say, "Hey, let me just listen to something or read something," you'll feel, right? If we, with our tiny, tiny thing only, we feel separation. If Krishna lived with you and, you had no problem, forget Krishna. If somebody comes to your house, your relative stays with you for 1 week, they'll all be tears, right? After 1 week when they are leaving. It's the same way. It's the same way when Krishna was physically present and he had those loving interaction with Pandavas, how much painful it was for them to leave Krishna. By associating with pure devotees and by hearing them submissively, attachment for material enjoyment becomes slackened and attraction for Krishna increases. Hearing the transcendental activities of Krishna becomes prominent. Once they will go on progressively without stoppage, like fire and gunpowder. Prabhupada is giving how bhakti process works. It is said that Hari, the personality of Godhead, is so transcendently attractive that even those who are self-satisfied by self-realization and are factually liberated from all the material bondage are also become devotees of the Lord. Who was one example who we can understand, who was completely liberated but got attracted to the Lord? Who is that person? Any guesses?
Sukadeva Goswami Mathaji.
Yes, Sukadeva Goswami. And even the Sanatan, the four Kumaras are
Sanat
also,
Kumar.
they were also impersonalists. They were also liberated, but they got attracted by just by the association of a pure devotee. Who was that pure devotee? Tulsi Maharani. Just by association, they smelled the tulsi on Lord Vishnu's feet and they got attracted to Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Under the circumstances, it is easily understood that what must have been the position of Pandavas. Again, it is reiterating how the name, fame, qualities, pastimes of Krishna is so dear to a pure devotee's heart and it keeps growing, it doesn't diminish. See, bhakti is like that. You can see the reference of bhakti in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Gauranga Mahaprabhu says that bhakti is like a boundless ocean. where it does not have a boundary. Width also, there is no boundary. Depth also, there is no boundary. You can never say, okay, I've reached the saturation in bhakti. You go deep, you go deep, you go deep, you keep going. There is no limit to that depth. And that is what Prabhupada is talking here, that once you become a devotee of the Lord, there is no end, there is no limit to it, right? That is what he says. All their hearts were melting for him on the pot of attraction. Very nice, right? Melting on the pot of attraction. They looked at him without blinking their eyes, and they moved hither and thither in perplexity. Here, because he spoke about blinking of the eyes, I got remembered of gopis. Gopis at one point, actually, they start cursing Brahma. Why do they curse Brahma? They say, what kind of a creation have you done? Why did you give us the eyelids? Because when we blink, when our eyes blink and we close, we are not able to see Krishna's form. And that 1 second when we close our eyes or blink, it feels like eternity for us, where we are missing Krishna. The separation is so much intolerable. Krishna is naturally attractive for all living entities because he is the chief eternal amongst all eternals. He alone is a maintainer of the many eternals. This is called stated in Kathopanishad. So Krishna is the original. Even if somebody is eternal, their eternity is dependent on Krishna's eternity. Okay, that is what it means. Thus, one can obtain permanent peace and prosperity by revival of one's eternal relationship with him, now forgotten under the spell of Maya. Once the relation is slightly revived, the conditioned souls at once become freed from illusion of material and becomes mad after the association of the Lord. This association is made possible not only by personal contact with the Lord, but also by the association with us. So Prabhupada is saying, see, there is many ways to associate with the Lord. By his form, by hearing about his Harikatha, the name, the quality, the Harinam Japa that we do, there are many ways to associate. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam trains the condition. What does Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam do? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam trains the conditioned soul to this stage of perfection by submissive hearing from pure devotees. See, I am impure, but the subject matter is pure, and it was narrated by a pure devotee. It was documented and it was illustrated and explained by another pure devotee. Although one point that the preacher may have some faults, the rest, the purity is so much, it is like Chintamani. Although Chintamani falls on the ground, it is still Chintamani. Like that. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam takes anybody, it is actually the literature of or the scripture of the Paramahamsas who have reached that level. Paramahamsa is a very high level, who've given up everything in the world. They don't want anything and they've understood so much and everything they've done. And we conditioned souls who are unintelligent, who are living in this world, also get purified by Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We also can rise to that level of Paramahamsa. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, just constantly hearing, will drag you to becoming a Paramahamsa. That is what it says. All the women were overwhelmed by Krishna's departure. However, they held. Why is that context given here? The context here is that in today's situation, how do I get the association of the Lord? I don't have so much of purity to bring the Lord down physically. Then how do I get association? Okay, name, I'm hearing, chanting, doing all that. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a literary incarnation of the Lord, and but just by touching that, just by reading one page, just by listening to that, we get the association of Krishna. That is the context. All the women were overwhelmed by Krishna's departure. However, they held their tears. So here they can't take that separation. But still, when the tears is coming, they're holding back. Why? When you have a close relative who is leaving, Say, for me, they come from India and they go back to India. I'm holding back my tears. Why? Because I want their journey to be safe. I don't want nothing inauspicious to happen to them. In the same way, and here they are holding back their tears. Directly or indirectly, anyone who thinks of Krishna, talks of Krishna, or worships Krishna becomes attached to Krishna, because Krishna is absolute. There is no difference between his name, form, quality, etc. Our intimate relationship with Krishna can be confidentially revived by our talking and hearing and remembering him. It is so done due to spiritual potency. It is, see, this is very important. It is done by spiritual potency. It is not by my endeavor. My endeavor is very less, because I am in the lowest sewage pipe, and for me to reach that moon is very difficult. Can I reach the moon? I cannot reach the moon, but the moonbeam can fall on me. That is what it means. The Kripa Shakti is the one which is going to pull me out of this, and not my own endeavor. This is very, very beautiful. We'll quickly go through this. This is the third section of the chapter, where the ladies went to the rooftop. See, those days, this is the second point that Prabhupada has written here. Out of loving desire to see the Lord, all the ladies got to the rooftop and smiling in affection. They had so much of attraction for Krishna, but those days women were not allowed. See, that is what Prabhupada restrict. There is a observed restriction of parda. That means restricted association with men. And Krishna also was a man those days. Women could not directly associate with them. So in open sabha, they couldn't come and say, "Oh, Krishna, you're going." Krishna is a different man, right? So they went up to the rooftop to discuss about the Lord. And this part is the key takeaway or the key to this entire chapter. We'll go through a little bit in detail. Absorbed in the thought of transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sung in select poetry, the ladies on the rooftops of all the houses of Hastinapur began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. So the ladies started talking about Krishna. See, Krishna has been, he is Uttama Shloka. I keep telling you, he is Uttama Shloka. There is nothing greater than Krishna. If there is one discussion which is super important, super priority, it has to be description about Krishna. There is nothing beyond that. So any discussion or any poetry you write or any essay you write, if you write about Krishna, that is the best thing that can happen. Here the ladies are talking about Krishna, and there was actually, when Krishna was leaving, there were drums, there were people, there was so much of noise and everything, but Krishna clearly heard the talk of the Hastinapur ladies, it is said. Although the drum sound was there, people, there is commotion here, everything, and the ladies were standing on, that voice is heard more clearly to Krishna. That shows that the language of the heart is what pleases Krishna. If you call out Krishna with lot of feelings, right, it is much better than any austerity you can do. And Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. That's why he was able to hear that clearly in spite of all the hymns. I don't remember the shloka. There is a shloka which talks about, no matter how much of yagnas the Brahmanas perform, ritualistic yagnas, no matter how many shlokas they say, no matter how much of puja the, kings and people who are in opulence do, Krishna feels that when the cow of Gokula calls him, he hears that and responds, but not to the yagnas or the mantras or the opulence of people. That is Krishna. Okay. They said here he is the original, so they're describing Krishna here, the original personality of Godhead as we definitely remember him. He alone existed before the manifested creation of the three modes of nature, and in him only, because he is the Supreme Lord, all living beings, as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended. This is very beautiful. It is actually, it comes in many of the prayers, even in Gajendra Moksha it comes, that it says, before creation you existed, after creation also you're the only one who's existing. And all living entities, when creation happens, they take your shelter, and when creation is completed or annihilation happens also, all living entities enter into the body of Mahavishnu. That is what it is. Creation and annihilation, the living beings remain asleep within the body of the Lord within there until there is another creation of material world. And that is the way of the creation, maintenance and annihilation of the material manifestation. In the Shruti mantra means in the Vedas, it is said that only Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, existed before the creation, and there was no Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods. Even Brahma, Shiva did not exist before that. See, Shiva, there are different kinds of Shivas. Okay, Shiva Tattva is very difficult. This is one kind of Shiva that we are talking about who comes into existence in the universe. But there is Mahadev, and there is Shambhu, who always eternally exists. This is another kind of Shiva who enters the universe. That is a different Shiva. And that's why here it says, along with Brahma, it is given. From Brahma only this Shiva came. So this Shiva is the universe Shiva. But Mahadeshwara and Shambhu always exist. Okay? He always exists. Vishnu means Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean. By his breathing only, all the universes are generated in seeds and gradually develop into gigantic. See, when Mahavishnu breathes in and breathes in, he takes all the universes inside, breathes out, from the pores of the Lord, everything comes out. When it comes out, it doesn't come out like big, big universes. It actually comes like, what is that? Mustard seed. It comes out like small mustard seed, and then it becomes gigantic. Okay, that is the understanding here. Then it becomes gigantic, innumerable planets within each and every universe. So what is coming out is one universe. That universe will have 14 planetary system within that. So that comes as a small seed and it becomes big. The Mahavishnu is the plenary portion of Lord Krishna. Now you are saying, see, Hastinapur ladies are saying Krishna, but they're talking about Vishnu. So there is a difference, you may say. That's why Prabhupada gives in the purport the explanation that Mahavishnu is a plenary portion of Krishna. He is the Swayam avatar, like he is the Vishnu Tattva. He is the expansion of Vishnu. He is expansion from Balaram. Mahavishnu is expansion from Balaram. That is what is explained. And where is the reference? Brahma Samhita 5.48. Let me offer my respectable obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead, Govinda, whose plenary portion is Mahavishnu. All the Brahmas, the heads of the universes, live only for the period of his exhalation. After the universes are generated from the pores of his transcendental body. See, the main catch point is he is a plenary expansion. Who? Mahavishnu is a plenary expansion of Lord Govinda. There is a structure in which he comes, right? From Balaramji, Chaturvyuha expansion, from I think Sankarshna, again another second level of Chaturvyuha expansion happens, and from that Sankarshna, or Pradyumna, I don't remember whom, from there Mahavishnu comes. The merging of the living beings into the body of Mahavishnu takes place automatically at the end. See, there are two times it happens. One is the 100 years of Brahma happens, then annihilation happens, and at the night of Brahma, again annihilation happens. So there are two times annihilation happens. But that does not mean, this is very important, but that does not mean the individual living entities lose their identity. It is not that they are all energies, they just merge into the body of Vishnu and they lose everything. That is impersonalism. No. They still stay as an individual. How will they stay as an individual? With all their desires, with all their karma palas. They take all that. And the entire Krishna conscious process is what? Emptying that. Just empty the desires, empty the karma pala. Do only a karma. Empty all your desires. Then what is there? The patra the vessel becomes empty. When the vessel becomes empty, it break opens and your atma goes back to Goloka. But if you have something in it, the vessel will not break. Then you go like that only as a seed form, you go inside Vishnu's body. So next creation happens, you come out with all those desires and karma pala and your activity again. All the desires you had, Vishnu will enable you to act on those desires. But Krishna conscious process says, the only desire I have is Krishna's desire. So my vessel becomes empty. The minute it becomes empty, it is hollow, isn't it? Empty vessel means it's hollow. It'll break. It'll break and your Atma goes, it gets released. The merging of the living beings into the body of Mahavishnu takes place automatically at the end of Brahma's 100 years. But that does not mean that the individual living entity being loses his identity. The identity is there, and as soon as there is another creation by the supreme will of the Lord, all the sleeping inactive living beings are again let loose to begin their activities in the continuation of the past different spheres, okay, of life. It is called Suptahita Maya. Suptahita means it is the sleeping state, awakening from that Supta. You're awakening from that stage, awakening from sleeping. See, all of us go into deep sleep when annihilation happens, and that's why we don't feel that. We forget that. Why? See, if you sleep tonight and get up in the morning, whatever happened during your sleep, right? You won't remember. You're just sleeping, right? You won't remember. In the same way, when annihilation happens, also you're in deep sleep. And that's why you don't remember what happened then. But you go with your desires and karma pala. So it is like a break in the movie. You know, you're watching a movie, there is a pause, interval. And again, the movie continues. Again, you will continue your activities. Once you're awakened during creation, you will continue your activities. Again, engaging in one's respective continuous duty. And this is what we are saying we don't want to do. We want to go back to Goloka. Another creation, let's not get into another creation. Let's end this now and here, right? That is what Prabhupada keeps telling us. Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whose transcendental form is experienced by great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service. This is very important. Why Prabhupada uses rigid, right? We have only so much time to do devotion. So how do we increase our devotion? I think Prakash Prabhu was asking me, how do I increase my devotion? And instead of increasing, we should go deeper in the devotional service we are doing. Whether we are doing Mangalarati to the Lord or chanting for the Lord, go with more emotions, go deeper into that. That will cleanse you more than saying, I finished. It's like a chore, right? I finished reading. Next, I will do this. Next, it becomes very mechanical. Where is Krishna? Where is love in that? Right? That is why Prabhupada writes rigid, because you go deeper and stronger. Even if you chant one round, go stronger in that rather than increasing the count, right? That is what he says. And full control of the senses and life. All the senses should merge into the lotus feet of the Lord. And the only way to do it is not by senses one by one. Merge first take your mind to the Lord. The minute you take the mind to the Lord, all the senses will follow. All the senses will follow. If you try to control the senses one by one, you cannot. You know, that is the trick. That is the secret. And that is the only way to purify existence. See, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Prabhupada's teaching is bhakti in every purport. When the senses are engaged in more attractive activities, there is no chance of their being attracted by any other inferior engagements. Okay, all of you, quiz question. I know it's too much of reading from my side. Go and search for that verse in Bhagavad Gita, which says, getting a higher taste, you will lose the taste for lower senses. At the end of the class, we will see what that shloka is. There are actually two shlokas in this. I will tell you both, explain both, and then you can search. So the first shloka is, when I get a higher taste, I lose the taste of all the sense, material sense. The lower taste I will give up. That is in Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the senses can be controlled by giving it a higher taste. How do you control senses? By giving it a higher taste. Second shloka. Devotional service necessitates purifying the senses or engaging them in the activities of devotional service. Devotional service is not inaction. Anything done in the service of the Lord becomes at once purified of its material nature. The material conception is due to ignorance. So, how do we come to the stage of executing pure devotional service? How do we come to that stage? By, continuing to do devotion, and, all your karma is gone. Okay, once your karma and sins are gone, you'll be established in pure devotional service. There is a second shloka which talks about it. So the first shloka is in chapter 2, where it says you get a higher taste. Second shloka says, once you give up all your anarthas are purified, all your sins are purified, you will be established in pure devotional service. This is in chapter 7. Chapter 7 has that. Let's see who will come up with the answer at the end of the session.
Hare Krishna,
Uh,
Mataji.
yes, Hare Krishna, Mathaji.
Mataji, first shloka is Yavanartha Udapani, Mataji.
Uh-huh.
Yavanartha Udapani.
No,
Sarvatos. No.
no. Keep trying, keep trying. Okay. Discussion among the ladies. Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest modes of existence, the Lord in his transcendental form manifests his pure supreme power, the truth, positive, shows special mercy to the faithful, performs. So they're talking about how Krishna takes the Janma just to purify all these administrators and who behave like animals, although they are people, they are human beings. Their attitude and their mindset is like animals, to teach them a lesson and also to give them also moksha or liberation, to bring them also to the right path. He performs these wonderful activities, and those activities, it's not only for that, so that people like us can keep remembering the Krishna's activities and purify ourselves. That is the reason. No one should encroach upon the property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should accept only what is kindly. This is Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam, right? Whatever is allocated, quota is there for you, only use that much. No one therefore can encroach upon the right of another individual man or animal without being sanctioned. Some people do a lot of karma, a lot of bad things. They are so greedy, they hurt others, they snatch away things from others, which does not belong to you, right? And that is what Prabhupada says. Nobody has right on the other person. Nobody has right on the other person's property. Nobody has it. You should not encroach, right? And these kings and administrators, those days in the Kuru dynasty, and today, current, you can see people are greedy of power, greedy of money, greedy of others. Little bit extra somebody else has, they are greedy about it, right? The king or the administrator is a representative of the Lord to look after the management of the Lord's will. They have to take care of what the Lord has given instead of snatching that from the people. The material world is created to satisfy the whims of the Nitya Baddhas. So Nitya Baddhas are conditioned souls like us, everlasting conditioned souls like us. Just to satisfy us, our needs, Krishna creates. Krishna creates the material world. Just as naughty boys are provided with praying cradles. So beautiful. Prabhupada writes it so beautifully. So he says it's just like naughty boys who want to play, right? And for them, you give them all the play stuff, right? It is like that. When he descends, he exhibited superhuman acts just to prove his supreme right, and materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and Kamsa are sufficiently punished. He acts in a manner which no one can imitate. For example, the Lord, when he appeared as Rama, bridged the Indian Ocean. When he appeared as Krishna, from his very childhood, he showed superhuman activities by killing all these asuras and everything. So what Prabhupada is warning us also is, we should not just believe somebody is God. Oh, they are like God, they are God, we say sometimes. We shouldn't say that, because it is an insult to God. We should know who God is. And how do we know? Like yesterday we were discussing, we cannot know. Shastra will tell. Our gurus know. Acharyas will give the full evidence and details about who Krishna is, or who the absolute truth is, who the Lord is, and we should only rely on that. Let's see how many more pages. Okay, 3 more pages. Just bear with me. I'll finish it quickly. Oh, how supremely glorified is it? So now they're glorifying that Yadu dynasty, right? Because Krishna is born in the Yadu dynasty. Same thing was described by Kunti Maharani, where she said, he is like that chandan tree in that Malaya forest. Because of that chandan tree, that smell is coming, the entire forest becomes great. Like that, the Yadu dynasty becomes great. And how virtuous is the land of Mathura, where the supreme leader, he is the leading, he is the king there, right, in Mathura. And he is a husband of a goddess of fortune, and he has taken birth, and all the Vraja, they're so lucky to have him, because he did all these pastimes, he lived in relationship with them. We are just seeing him and he is leaving us, but they have had a relationship, eternal relationship with him. His birth in the Yadu dynasty, and being the son of Vasudeva, and how he was transferred, right, to Nanda Maharaj. How glorious is Nanda Maharaj, how glorious is the land of Mathura, right? The internal potency, by the internal potency, how he was. So they're describing all the good fortune of all the people who are associated with the Lord. All those who were fortunate enough to associate with the Lord, the husband of the goddess of fortune, certainly obtained something more than what is called liberation. See, liberation is a tiny, teeny thing. Beyond that is the association of the Lord, and that is what they are saying. Therefore, rightly, the dynasty and the land are both glorious. Wherever Krishna appears, that land is glorious. Whoever associates with Krishna is glorious, right? And that's why we glorify the devotees, because when we glorify the devotees, we get that punya phala. And Krishna becomes happy because they have done a lot of austerities and lot of tapasya, and it's a pure soul which is engaging with the Lord. And that's why we have to glorify the devotees also. Oh, friends, just thinking of his wives whose hands he has accepted. Now they are talking about the wives, right? He fought many battles for accepting each of the wives. And when he kisses them, how glorious that is. The damsels of Vrajabhumi, they are actually playing with him. And Gopa Balakas, how they are glorious. How the ladies like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavati, they were forcefully taken away from him, from the Swayamvaras. He actually fought for them. See, we are all trying to get little bit of devotion from, we are doing to get Krishna, right? Imagine Krishna coming and fighting for them, right? Krishna fought many wars, many Swayamvaras he attended just to get the hands of these ladies. And so how glorious, if Krishna comes to fight for them, what great devotees they are. He's come to claim them. While the ladies of the capital Hastinapur were greeting him and talking in this way, the Lord looked at them and he gives us smiles, and he accepted their greeting, and casting a grace of his glance. The Lord's glance is amazing. Even more amazing is his smile. Even when Kunti Maharani said all the Kunti Stuti, Krishna, what did he do? He just gave a smile. It is said that Krishna's smile will, it will make everybody faint. It is so, it's very peaceful. It is like that soft breeze. It is like the moonlight. It's very cooling effect. It is not the boy and the girl smile. It is not like that. It is the Lord and the devotee, right? It is the Lord and the devotee. When Krishna smiles, it is very glorious, very, very glorious. And that's what they say. And it is said that when Mahaprabhu, when Krishna came as Mahaprabhu also, his glance is enough. Krishna's glance, Mahaprabhu's glance was enough for people to get, greatest positions, association with the Lord. Undoubtedly, it is a wonderful that Dwaraka has defeated the glories of the heavenly planet. See, Dwaraka is so glorious that it defeated the opulence and the greatness of all the heavenly planets also. That is what they are saying, right? He glances at them and favors them with sweet smiles. One day, just to get one smile, forget this. When you look at the DT form and when you are able to relate to that itself, you'll feel, I was able to relate, right? Or when you're singing some bhajan and suddenly Krishna comes in your mind, you feel so jubilant. Imagine Krishna smiling at you. Then you will feel even more jubilant. Now imagine the Dwarka people, they keep seeing Krishna smiling all the time. How glorious is that? So it is relativity, right? This is great, this is great, this is great, this is the greatest. That's what it means. Maharaj Yudhishthira, although no one's enemy, engaged 4 divisions of defense. So Krishna has no enemies. Krishna, nothing will happen to Krishna, but still Yudhishthira Maharaj is in that Vatsalya Bhav with Krishna. He had lot of army and he had 4 divisions of defense. First the horses, then the elephant, then the chariot, then the army. All these people followed Krishna, protected Krishna to certain distance, and that's what I've written. The Maharaj did this because of the enemy also, and also out of affection for the Lord. He wanted to protect the Lord from all the enemies who could come and do some harm to Krishna, but also out of lot of love, out of profound affection for Lord Krishna. The Pandavas, who were the Kuru dynasty, accompanied him to a considerable distance to see him off. They were overwhelmed with the thought of future separation. See, this is very difficult. Separation is very difficult. The Lord, however, persuaded them to return back home, and he proceeded towards the. It's like, your favorite person comes to your home. You don't belong, especially parents, right? When your parents come to your house, I don't know how many of you have parents living somewhere else. When they come to your house and then when they are leaving, you're crying, you're saying bye, you're going with them. You can't stop. You can't stop. And then they'll say, it's it, enough, you've come a long distance, go back home. They say that's the same thing that Krishna did. O Shaunaka, the Lord then proceeded towards Kurun jungle. So this is the path in which the Lord traveled back to Dwarka. Kuru Jangala, Panchala, Surasena, the land on the banks of river Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Sarasvata, and the province of the desert and land of scanty water. After crossing these provinces, he gradually reached the Suvira and Abhira province. Then west of these reached the Dwaraka at last. So that is the end of the Lord departing and leaving Hastinapur to go back to Dwaraka. Thank you, dear devotees, for giving me this opportunity once again to describe this